everybody, I'm Mary with Cascade Sciences, and today I'm going to do a little pro tips and tricks on vacuum oven door gaskets. Now, we all know that Cascade Sciences vacuum ovens are rugged. They are going to last a very long time. However, the door gasket is considered a consumable, and it will wear out and it will need to be replaced. And if you think about it, the door gasket sits on this 304 steel metal lip, and it's subjected to the heat of the vacuum chamber, the pressure of vacuum, and it has to contend with all the solvents or materials that are outgassing during the vacuum, drying, or purging process. So the little guy takes a ton of abuse. I do recommend having a spare gasket on hand because nothing is worse than being ready to go and have a gasket that has failed and you're not able to run your process. So the door gasket sits on this 304 steel metal lip, and then it actually seals to the glass surface on the door. And we do that on purpose because the glass is so smooth. And the smoother the contact point, the better the vacuum integrity. And Cascade Sciences is all about vacuum integrity. So that's why it's designed that way. The door gasket under normal operating conditions, I would say is going to last about a year. And I will give you a few tips and tricks to extend that as long as possible. The standard gasket that comes with the Cascade Sciences vacuum ovens is the high temp silicone gasket. This is what we have found to be the best all-purpose vacuum door gasket. It has the highest temperature range. So it's going to withstand temperatures north of 220 Celsius. Keep in mind though, the hotter you run your vacuum oven, for the longer duration, it's just going to accelerate the wear and tear on the oven. But this is the best all-purpose vacuum oven door gasket. Highest temperature, tolerates the most things. Another option we have is called a fluorosilicon door gasket. Now that's really designed for our friends in the petrochemical industry because it has a greater tolerance for some of the things that fuel and oils will outgas. So that's a fluorosilicon gasket. Its maximum temperature is just north of 200 Celsius as well. We also offer a Buna or Buna, potato, Buna or Buna N material type door gasket. This is known for its solvent resistant properties, but it can really only perform well at temperatures below 100, 105 Celsius. So low temp applications where there's a ton of solvents, you might consider a Buna gasket. Last but not least, we have the Viton gasket. Viton gaskets rule the world of aerospace, some pharmaceutical applications because of its low outgassing properties. So if someone is concerned about a gasket's outgassing, the Viton gasket is the way to go. Viton's maximum temperature range is approximately 150 degrees Celsius. Now, speaking of outgassing, when you are shopping for a vacuum oven, it is important to ask, have the vacuum oven gaskets been cured prior to shipment? You want the answer to be yes. Why? Because if the silicone or other gasket material is not cured prior to shipment, you run the risk of having any leftover moisture or surfactants or anything that's been part of the gasket manufacturing process to outgas inside your oven and possibly posing a contamination risk to your product. So, you know, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I do always recommend when you get the oven, give it a dry run. Turn it on, a little bit of heat, a little bit of vacuum. If there's any moisture that has been absorbed, that will get rid of it and your gasket will be back to its cured state and not pose a contamination risk. We do that for you up front, but you never know. I have seen in some cases where a vacuum oven might sit for a while, that it's in really hot, humid environments, damp environments. The gasket may reabsorb some of that moisture. Keep that in mind if you're restarting up a vacuum oven after it's been sitting for a long time in a damp or humid environment. Now here's some other tips to keep the door gasket lasting as long as possible. Rotation. This gasket is very easily removable, and I would love for you to rotate it 2, maybe 3 times a year. However, please do it when the oven is cold. If you pull the door gasket off when the oven is warm, you run the risk of stretching it out of shape. And as my friend Catherine says, that's a $100 mistake that you'll only make once. And trying to get the gasket back to its original shape is like trying to put toothpaste back in the tube. It's just not gonna happen. So take the gasket off, really easy, and then just rotate it like this every few months. But while you have the door gasket off, let's look at in between the seams, look for signs of wear. Is there splitting? Is there cracking? Do you see uneven wear at any point on the gasket surface? Uneven wear generally occurs when the door is out of balance or cattywampus. Cattywampus is a technical term that we have engineered for. If you see uneven wear on your gasket, rotating will help, but also check to see if these floating hinges can be adjusted to bring the door back into square. That will go a long way to also facilitate even wear of your gasket. If you find that your oven is for some reason not pulling as deep a vacuum as it used to, oftentimes we ask you to inspect your door gasket. So again, take a look at it, pull it off when the oven is cold, don't do it when it's hot. If you don't remember anything that I've said during this video, what we do when you order replacement door gaskets is we have this handy pro tips card for you. It talks about the different gasket materials that we offer, their maximum temperature ranges, and all the tips about rotation, inspection, do it on a cold oven, everything that you need to know. But again, we are absolutely here for you. We want to make sure you get the right gasket for your application, so give us a call, chat with us on our website, DM us on Instagram. However you feel more comfortable, reach out. We'll make sure that we get you pointed in the right direction with the gasket. Thanks again.